Hey Lan, hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use him pronouns. I'm once again filming a video what time is it? It's like 11:20 p.m. and I'm like a little bit sleep deprived. I have no idea why. I have a theme of making videos right before bed or like late at night. Even though I'm sleep deprived, I am sort of a night owl. I'm definitely not an early morning person at all. But yes, today's video is the third video in my little series talking about autism, and I'm going to be challenging some autism myths and misconceptions, and very unhelpful, stigmatizing things about autism, and so give y'all my take on the misconception and challenge it and break barriers and stuff like that. Yeah. For those of you who are new and have never seen me before, yes, I'm Lev. I'm an autistic guy, and I was diagnosed almost 2 months ago. Formally diagnosed with autism almost 2 months ago. So yes, let's get into the misconceptions. I have 5 misconceptions to go through in this video. However, there are a lot more than 5, and there are a lot more than the 5 that I'm going to be talking about, and this is definitely far from being an exhaustive list. Yeah. First one is autism is a disease. Firstly, it's not, and let me assure you that you are not going to be autistic from watching this video. You're not going to get autism off of me for watching this video, and I cannot make you autistic because I am autistic myself. It's like, it reminds me of the trans stuff. I know I sometimes I relate to trans things and talking about autism, but just the experience wise, it reminds me of that. It's like there's the stigma of trans people that if someone talks to a trans person or interacts with a trans person or learns about trans people, that it makes them trans. And it's similar with autism, like you knowing that I'm autistic, you learning about autism, seeing representation of autism doesn't make you autistic. I don't know if that's directly related to the disease thing, but in my head it's sort of the whole stigma all links together. Doesn't make you autistic, and it's not a disease because that implies that there's something wrong with me and that like I'm unhealthy in some way because of this medical thing that's going on. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder, and the way I understand it and conceptualize it in my brain is my brain's been wired differently from the get-go. From the start, my brain's been wired differently. My nervous system works differently to neurotypical people. And there's challenges with, social, emotional stuff, building connections. There's the sensory overload stuff, and just all because my brain and my nervous system are wired differently. It's a different operating system to neurotypical people, essentially. But definitely not a disease. Definitely not a disease. Also, the term disease to me really implies that there's something wrong with me. It's something wrong that needs to be fixed, and it's not normal. And it's something that should be eradicated because we don't like disease. Like take COVID, for example. We don't like COVID. We want it to be gone. We want to eradicate it because it's a disease. It spreads, it causes havoc, it takes people's lives, it causes chaos. It's just not very nice it's not very nice for it to exist in society, and it should never have existed in the first place. That's what disease reminds me of. That. And yes, while being autistic in this very neurotypical favored world can be challenging. There's nothing wrong with me and there's nothing abnormal about me for being autistic. I'm seen as, or autistic people are seen as abnormal in a neurotypical world because neurotypical people, I'm assuming there's a lot more neurotypical people than neurodivergent people, or there is just a lack of understanding of neurodivergence, and the whole setup of society is designed to fit neurotypical people and neurotypical experiences and doesn't really consider that divergence. The second misconception on my list, and it relates to the first thing, is that the second misconception is autism can be cured. No, autism cannot be cured. It's just the way my brain and my nervous system operates. It's the way my brain's wired. It's the way my entire system is wired. And there's no needing to fix that because there's nothing wrong with me. Again, there are challenges associated with being autistic in this very neurotypical oriented and favored world. However, that doesn't make being autistic wrong and something that needs to be fixed just because it's different. Autistic people do not need to be fixed because there's nothing wrong with us. We're different, but that doesn't mean we're wrong, and it doesn't mean that we are broken. We're not broken for being autistic. Yeah, we're not broken. We don't need to be fixed, and because there's nothing wrong with us in the first place. And there's definitely no disease to be cured here. Here's an analogy. iOS and Android are two mobile operating system. Like iOS is for like Apple devices, Android is, I use a Samsung, so Samsung and all the other ones. We don't say we need to cure iOS because it's different from Android. We don't say we need to cure Android because it's different from iOS. It's two different operating systems. It doesn't make them different. It doesn't make either one of them wrong. They're different, but them being different doesn't make each one wrong. They just work differently. They have a different system, but it doesn't mean that one of them needs to be eliminated just because they're different from each other. It's the same with neurotypical and neurodivergent people. Just because we're different from neurotypical people, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with us and that we're abnormal just because we operate differently and we have a different operating system. The third misconception is that autistic people don't feel emotions. This may come out of people's very limited understanding of autism and possible very unhelpful and unhealthy stereotypes of autism. I don't even know actually. I started going with that and then I realized I have nothing to say about it. So I really don't know where I'm going with that. Like, I don't know where it's based off and I don't know where it came from. But that is an absolute joke because the autistic people don't feel emotions is an absolute joke because this is, I mentioned at the start of the video, I was only officially diagnosed, like I went to get assessed by clinical psych. Month and a half ago, almost 2 months, a month and a half ago, yep, month and a half ago. And I did not know I was autistic up until 1.5 months ago. And when I was younger, and even now, I used to experience severe depression and severe social anxiety. So that's sadness, despair, nervousness, I can't think of emotion. Well, nervousness, sadness, fear, isolation, loneliness. I felt everything. I felt everything. And that was even before I realized I was autistic. Not that it has anything to do with it, the whether diagnosed or not, it doesn't invalidate autistic people's experiences, and it doesn't make this misconception true. I've also felt resentment, anger. I feel it's actually, I have maybe one theory about where this might have come from. Maybe this came out of autistic people having to mask emotions and mask. Let me try and explain this. Autistic people mask because of. Actually, I want to stop this. I'm gonna start over. Autistic people mask and neurodivergent people mask because we live in a neurotypical world, and we mask as in we suppress, we don't fully express ourselves, we sort of camouflage our truth and what we need to do to be comfortable, etc., because it doesn't fit into what neurotypical people expect of normal behavior. Therefore, we pretend we're normal by masking and essentially lying to ourselves because of fear of being judged, being questioned, being looked down upon, being treated differently, bullying, discrimination, the list goes on. Because we don't fit into the boxes of what neurotypical people expect of us and how people should behave and act and be in the world, essentially. Yes, we mask. And then therefore, what we feel inside and all the distress and different emotions might not be visible to others because we learn, and as we go along the years masking, we learn not to show emotion, or we may learn to not show. I'm not saying everyone's the same. I definitely showed all of my emotions most of the time. But in general, we mask and we can learn to not show emotions and then just sort of be emotionless. I mean, outside visibly, show that we're fine and that there is nothing going on because of what I said before about the being looked down upon, judged, and etc. And there's also people might, I don't know why, but people might think that just because it's not visible on the outside, that that we're fine and there's nothing going on just because we could fake a smile on or so-called look normal. The outside, the face doesn't always represent what is the feelings that are inside. Like someone could be feeling awful and like in a shitty situation and be smiling because we're not meant to show emotions in the world. I think that's where it might have come from too. And then also the whole like hiding emotions also links in with mental health. Like it's not exclusively an autistic thing. It's like the whole not showing emotion. It intersects essentially. Like it's not exclusive to like one category. And the other thing related to this is autistic people do feel emotions, but sometimes we might find it hard to express it. Part of that might be masking. The other part is not being able to express it or not feeling safe to express emotions in our own way. Because again, with the whole we mask because we don't fit into the boxes and what people expect should be normal behavior, autistic people might not feel comfortable, have the safe space to express emotions freely in our own way, in a way that might not fit all the boxes, might not tick the boxes, express ourselves in a way that is diverse and different. Therefore, we mask. So it's a lot of factors in this, and part of it is the way society is set up and the way people are expected to do things. Because expressing emotions and internal distress and whatever it may be differently may be seen as threatening, may be seen as, oh, something's wrong with this person, or be a target of bullying or harassment, discrimination. There's a lot. The fourth misconception on my list is that children can grow out of autism. And I am basically one living example of how incorrect this is, because I didn't even know I was autistic until a month and a half ago. And then, yeah, I wasn't diagnosed as a child. My challenges were just thought to be depressions and anxiety and nothing else. It was attributed to social anxiety and major depression. And I'm diagnosed here as an adult. I'm looking at the whiteboard thing where I wrote my little notes down. So no, you cannot grow out of it, because if this were to be true, that children can grow out of autism, when I went to get assessed, then I would not be diagnosed with autism, because I would have, according to this myth, grown out of it by this point. So that's absolutely incorrect. And my existence already disproves that. The other related thing is, it's not a phase. It's not a phase. It's not something that... Autism isn't something someone goes through for like 2 years and just like it just vanishes, it just fades with time. It doesn't work like that, because as I said, it's the way my brain is wired, it's the way my nervous system is wired, and it's basically how my operating system works. And something so fundamental at the core cannot be grown out of, nor should I feel ashamed for being autistic and thinking that I should grow out of it because it's not neurotypical. Yeah, it's like we don't say to neurotypical people, you grow out of being neurotypical. Like, just think of it, and logically just think of it as, just flip it, being like, children can grow out of children can grow out of being neurotypical. How sensical does that sound to you when I say that? Children can grow out of being neurotypical. It doesn't sound very logical, doesn't it? It doesn't make much sense, does it? It doesn't. Yet, autistic people get it, so it's... I mean, get it as in autistic people get said that it can be grown out of. The last misconception myth I have for this video is autism is only non-verbal. And similar to the last myth, my existence and clinical diagnosis already disproves this, because I was not non-verbal. I was not non-verbal at all. And there's also evidence, if I was non-verbal autistic, then I would not have an entire YouTube channel filled with videos of me talking, most videos of me talking, and I wouldn't be able to work I wouldn't have the friends I have today. I probably wouldn't even get by high school. I found it extremely difficult to get by high school. Fun fact, like I aced school. Like I did really well in school, despite having severe social anxiety, severe depression, having thoughts about ending my life at the time, and really bad physical health conditions and wounds on my legs and limping to class every single day for like 8 months. That was like year 12. Year 11, year 12 was the physical stuff, but the mental health stuff was already ongoing throughout my teenage years. I lost the point to me saying all of this. I completely derailed and lost sight of the reason I was saying all this in the first place. Wait. Yes, it's related to non-verbal. So a lot of like that, there were assignments that required, school stuff that required talking, presentations, group work, and just the daily living and functioning in society required socializing, like verbally. And I did manage to talk, like, despite severe social anxiety, I was working on it. I managed to talk, and I did talk to classmates and have people I hang out with and stuff and talk verbally. So that is one example. My lived experience is one example testifying that this is completely incorrect, that autism is only nonverbal. And I believe it's very stereotypical. Like, I believe that when people think autism, or like when the idea of autism is that people are nonverbal, well, yes, nonverbal autism does exist. That is not representative of everyone who's autistic. It's not representative of everyone. It's only some, like, that person's experience or some people's experiences. Again, autism is very diverse, and not everyone's the same. Not everyone's experiences the same. Not everyone's challenges are the same and to the same levels. It's all very diverse, and we are not the same. You meet me, I'm not the same as the next autistic person you meet. My experiences are my experiences. The next autistic person's experiences are their experiences. We're not the same, and it's not very good to generalize and, take stereotypes like for example, knowing someone who is non-verbal autistic and then assuming that every single autistic person is like this. No. Again, if I was non-verbal autistic, this video wouldn't be here right now, and you wouldn't be watching me right now on YouTube talking so much about actual important things. So, yeah. Damn, it's itchy. My face is itchy. That's all for this video. I don't know why my face is so itchy. That's all for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I gave you some food for thought using my little take my take on debunking these autism myths and misconceptions. Sorry, my brain is just starting to turn off because I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, but I'm filming a video, but yes. I think it's important we keep challenging myths, unhelpful beliefs that are prevalent throughout society about autism, because it paints a really bad and unhelpful and unrealistic picture of autistic people and what lived experiences of autism are actually like. If someone hears like autism needs to be cured, or like autism is only nonverbal and everyone who's autistic doesn't talk, or like just really unrealistic, unhelpful, and very damaging beliefs about autism, then that's going to be pinned in their mind, and then they're going to leverage that one idea without really questioning it, challenging it, having evidence for it, and then just running with it. And then this is how the stigma continues to prevail, is very unfounded ideas and beliefs that are spread widely, and then there's not enough to challenge it. There's not enough representation of the the autistic community, and spaces for us to be heard, be seen, compared to the vast amount of neurotypical representation there is out there. Yeah. Yep, that's all I had. Thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you in the next video.